Good evening, fuckers, and welcome to the next Train Simulator Classic request video. And this one is one of mine, and it's a bit different because we are doing another drive guide video. Not done one of these for a while, but let's face it, there's a good reason for it. We've covered the Class 76, which also covers the Class 77, and we've had a regular request video for us that featured the 77 anyway. So yeah, done. We've done the Class 87. The 86 drives exactly the same way. 86 has not yet appeared in a request video, well, neither has the 87 for that matter. I'm sure they will come along pretty soon though. And we've done the Class 73, which is probably the most awkward of the diesel or electric trains, because of the fact that, yeah, its controls are sort of backwards if you are using the electric power. And when it comes to diesel and electric trains, there aren't exactly a huge number of trains that are sort of difficult, shall we say, or at least they're not exactly the same as, you know, just your bog standard throttle up and away you go. Those three, effectively five, are really the only ones that are any different, at least certainly as far as the locos I've got go. I mean, I could do a video on the Class 395 if you really want to see that. Let me know in the comments on this video. I could do a drive guide on the Class 370, the APT. I know there were a fair few players who have a bit of trouble getting that thing started, so I mean, I could do that. And there are at least two other electric trains which I don't have yet, but I will get the two of them when I get a particular route, and I could have that route as early as the end of this month. That route is the Woodhead line in blue, and the locos in question are the Class 506, which, yeah, is a bit of an awkward sod, that one, because if you don't get it right, it just crawls along. So that could be one. And the other is the return of the Class 76, but it's been updated in that route, and it drives a little bit differently. Not vastly different, but enough of a difference that it might be warranted. So yeah, any of those locos that I've mentioned, if you want to see drive guides for them, then yeah, let me know in the comments. If I don't get enough comments asking for them, then I'm not going to waste my time doing them, you know. So yeah, if you want to see it, put a comment down. You know, let me know that there is some sort of demand for them. Anyway, let's get back to this one. So for this one, we are in the Class 92, and I think of all the electric locos in this game, this is the one that probably has the most features of any of them. But not just electric, of all the I was about to say trains, all the locos in this game. This seems to be about, you know, the most feature filled of the lot. The line is not a favourite. It is the London Faversham High Speed line. So yes, we are going to be travelling along HS1 because we're starting at Gravesend and our destination is St Pancras. So yeah, we will certainly be going through HS1. Our train consists of 20 mega freight wagons, so it's a fair sized train, and it's certainly pretty hefty, you know, pretty heavy, but the Class 92 is a properly powerful locomotive. It's the most powerful in the game as far as I'm aware. You know, it generates in excess of 6,000 horsepower. Yeah. Now, as far as the specifics, it's summer, it's clear weather, and it's 11:30 in the morning, none of which really makes much difference as far as this video goes. But unfortunately, because I'm using the London to Faversham High Speed line, I've had to select player train only, because otherwise we have a load of stationary class 395s along the way, and they just send all the signalling haywire, and it's a pain in the arse. So that is the setup. Let's get this up and running. And here we are in the cab of the class 92. So very feature heavy loco this. So let's start by getting us completely set up, and we'll go through the useful features as we do this. So we'll start by getting the lighting sorted out. So we want cab lights on. I'll turn the upper headlight on, and we want the instrument lights on. Okay, and then we want the lights set for daytime running. Now the parking brake is actually yeah, it is actually selectable. So yeah, you want to make sure that that is off. Right, so over here, I mean, I don't normally go through all of this, but with this loco, yeah, I think I will. So yeah, we have the horn here, it's two-tone. We have the PBL brake. Now that is the yeah. One of these is the loco brake, one of these is the train brake, and I don't know which one is which. I mean, I don't use the levers themselves to control it. I use the HUD, as you all know, yeah, only too well now. This thing, yeah, is not interactive. This is the emergency brake. All this part here, yeah, this is not interactive. If you get the Armstrong Powerhouse enhancement thing, then it does become interactive, and I just don't see why. It doesn't add anything to it for me. I'll make no secret of the fact that I'm very much a casual player, and you know, realism and really intense sort of like details just don't grab me. So yeah, I'm quite happy with this not being interactive. Right, down here, this is the control for the windscreen wipers, which we will not need. Now here, this is for either raising the pantograph or lowering the third rail shoe. Because this is a dual power electric loco, so we can use either the overhead or the third rail. Now we're currently at Gravesend in Kent, which uses the third rail, and that's already set, so yeah, we're all good to go there. But the reason I've chosen this route is because our next stop is Ebbsfleet, and that means that I do need to change the the power settings and get power from the overhead wires. Right, so here, yeah, is your brake control. It's the same sort of brake that you find on the class 58 and 59 and 66. I do quite like the this brake control here, and this one, it's pretty rapid. When you move the selector, it does not take long at all for the needle to reach what you've selected, and therefore for the brakes to come on, so they do react really well. Quite pleasantly surprised by how well they do. This is the speed select. Yeah, the speed select works again really well on this thing. So it is just a case of, well, let's say, yeah, we're currently in a 15 mph section. So what you would do is select, yeah, 15, and then, yeah, when you throttle up and stick it straight in a max throttle, it will not go above 15. And we've got a 70 mph section coming up fairly soon, and that will, yeah, just do the same there. It will you know, we'll set this to 70, the throttle will then kick in again, and yeah, we will not be doing above 70. Also, if you lower the speed setting, or set it to a speed that's lower than what you are actually doing, it will make use of the brakes. So yeah, it really is a full-on like autopilot. This is the power gauge. This is particularly handy when you are using the speed selector. The bar on this side here is the one you really want to pay attention to. So yeah, as you're powering up, the bar goes above the red line here in the center to show how much power is being sent to the wheels. And then if you're braking, it goes below the red line, predominantly to show how much power is I think being regenerated and sent back to the yeah, back into the system. Right, over here we have the reverser, we have the master key which is already in and set up, and we have our power throttle, AWS reset, and we have this button here, the boost button, and it does exactly what it says. If you are finding yourself struggling, you know, because you're on a particularly steep gradient going uphill and you need a little extra power, then yeah, click on that and it will give it to you. Now, this is realistic sort of like power boost. It's not just, you know, like an arcade game, press the boost button and suddenly whoosh, off you go, you know. No, it's not like that. We may well get the chance to see that in this run. Now, one last control that I really want to show is over on this side. All of this here is all, I think you'll find, yeah, none of it is actually interactive, but this is just where the second driver would sit. But there is a section up here that is interactive, and it is the brakes timing. So currently P is lit up, which is passenger brake timing. Well, we don't want that, we want goods. So that is now selected, and just like I was showing in the class 59, this means that it will improve yeah, how well the brakes work with regards to yeah, moving freight. So we've covered almost everything. However, those of you who are particularly observant may have noticed something else that is on this train, and yet it's this. Yeah, well, there's no getting around it. It's the TVM system. Now, if you've seen my video on the class 395, it wasn't a drive guide. It was just showing how to, you know, it was a route request as usual. You saw that I was getting quite a lot of grief from the old TVM. and I thought, well, at least the 395 is the only train that's got it, and then I bought this one. No. Okay, right, so that's the rough guy at the controls, so let's get things sorted out. Well, first of all, raise the pantograph. Actually, no, we're not raising the pantograph, we're lowering the shoe. Now that the that's been set, we then close, or yeah, we press this center button here. When you change the controls, change your power mode, it always instantly cuts off power. Firstly, here you would have to then either raise or lower whichever it is that's being used, pantograph or the third rail shoe. And then there's also a circuit breaker, and the circuit breaker activates when you are changing power mode. So you've got to close the circuit breaker again, complete the circuit, and this will allow power to come back. So that should all be good. So let's cancel the AWS, release the brakes, we can't go too fast as far as getting us underway, because if the brakes are still on when you are applying power, then power won't do anything. So here we go, we are underway. Let's take a look at us from outside. So here we are, pulling away from Gravesend. Now I can put the throttle straight into 100%, because yeah, I've got this the speed set to 15. We will not go over 15. There we go, 14.7. And yeah, it's not accelerating anymore. Top speed of the class 92 is 87 miles per hour, which for a freight specialist train, which the 92 was, it's no longer a freight specialist, but yeah, it was originally intended to be a freight specialist. 87 mph is a properly decent speed. And the 92 was built, yeah, to be like a seriously heavy freight trains. We're now on to a 30 mph section. Now, that was the driver vigilance thing, which drives you around a bend, but yeah, it can be disabled. I am extremely glad about that. So you can see here the power bar has gone up there while it's applying the power to get us up to 30 mph, which is the line speed here. We're about to enter a 70 mph section. Here we go, so we'll change the setting there to 70 mph, and then eventually yeah, you can see the power is now coming in. So we've got a diversion coming up. This is where we are approaching Ebbsfleet International, and it's going to divert us onto the line that takes us to HS1. So anyway, yes, the class 92 was built to be like, yeah, a real sort of like heavy duty freight train, and it was also built to be able to go through the Channel Tunnel and actually take freight into France. And 87 mph through the Channel Tunnel is actually fine. The max speed through the Channel Tunnel for any train is 95, so it's only 8 mph slower than the max speed you can go through the Channel Tunnel. Unfortunately, things didn't quite work out, and it never actually got used for going through the Channel Tunnel. At least as far as I'm aware, it wasn't used. Maybe someone out there who may know can fill us in on that. So yeah, we're now on to the line taking us to HS1, and we now have the overhead power. Now what you are supposed to do here is stop at Ebbsfleet and change power modes. Unfortunately, yeah, there's a bit of a glitch with the game, and if you do that, the train won't move. It doesn't start up again properly. So what I'm having to do is continue going through here at 50 mph, the limit, and we will eventually reach the point where firstly the TVN comes in, and secondly we are no longer getting power from the third rail. So while we're on the move, let's change it. We change it to BRCTRL. Pantograph is up and the circuit breaker has been closed. And notice now the speed is in kilometers per hour. So we are speeding. I've got to get our speed back down to actually I think we are now okay. So, as is always the case with the TVN, this speed is in kilometers per hour. But also bear in mind, our speedo here is now reading kilometers per hour as opposed to miles per hour, which it was reading. And also, the speed selector is now also in kilometers per hour. Now, the problem is, and again this is a problem with the coding of the game, not the train itself. I push it again to go up from 95 and it goes straight up to 110, so I can't select 100 kilometers an hour as the top speed. So now we've gone past the last of the internal signals, or the most recent internal signals, and it's given us the 3 greens. That means we can now go at the full speed, and on this train, say in kilometers per hour, or kilometers an hour, it's 140, which is 87 mph. So we can let the speed properly build up here. But we needed it to build up because now we have this incredibly steep uphill section, which is a 1 in 40. And we need the power to get us up there, and this may be a time to use the boost button. So if you look at the amps, you'll see that currently it's just like steadily increasing from 92. So we'll put the boost on, and now they really have shot up. Just try while it's giving us some extra power to get up this really steep gradient. I mean, we are still losing speed. It's inevitable when we're on this steeper gradient. You look at the power bar, it's way up, so power is going from the engine to the wheels, but this gradient is just giving it like a real tough time. And once we are actually off this 1 in 40 uphill climb, I can switch the boost off again. So we are approaching the M25. There is the Dartford Bridge, Dartford Crossing, the QE2 bridge. It's actually a pretty good rendering of it. I'm very familiar with the M25, and particularly the Dartford Crossing. Okay, so this is now leveled out, so we can turn the boost off again. We don't need that anymore. So with these signals, which are really triggering the internal signalling that the TVM system is, yes, if it's telling you something that is different to the setting that it was already at, so say right at the moment we've got the 3 greens telling us we can just go, like, you know, at the max speed. Now if this signal coming up here It's not going to change anything. It's going to stay at there you go, it stays exactly the same. Now if this had changed to anything other than what it is now, then you have the time it takes you to reach the next signal to actually achieve the speed that has come up here. If you don't, the emergency brakes kick in and it will yeah, stop the train. Now in this train, because the max speed possible with this loco is 87 mph, you've got a reasonable amount of time between each of the TPM signals. But if you are in a class 395, you know, the Javelin, which is doing, well, it could be doing 140 mph on this section, you do not have anywhere near as much time to react to any of the signal changes. So I was saying earlier that the Class 92 was built to be a freight specialist, but it no longer is. That's because several of the large rail freight companies actually stopped using 92s and replaced them with Class 66s, which I think is a pretty terrible move actually. It makes no sense at all. I'll also point out this line that we are going next to, running alongside here, that is actually part of the London, Tilbury and Southend line. This is as close as we get to actually using the Fenchurch Street line running alongside it. So yeah, anyway, yes, so the Class 92s, the large freight companies were stopping using it. But then it got like a second chance, because the 92s are now used on the sleeper trains, pretty much every single sleeper train. And it makes sense actually, because they can certainly shift the weight, there is no problem there. Their top speed of 87 miles per hour is certainly good enough. I mean, on a sleeper train you don't need to be, you know, doing 125. So it means that the train can just, you know, run its route as normal. And because it's going at a steady speed rather than, you know, blistering high speed, those people who are on the train, on the sleeper, and shock horror, sleeping, they're not going to arrive at their destination at something like, you know, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. You know, they're going to arrive at a time where the yeah, it's a much more civilized hour. Let's take a look then. So our speed is currently 130 something kilometers per hour, 81.3 mph. So we've got a pretty good speed going here. The thing is, this 140 limit here, yeah, that's 140 miles per hour. We're nowhere near that. So it's still all clear on the old TVN system. And here we are approaching the first of the tunnels taking us into London. So we're on a 1 in 43 downhill section, and around, yeah, while we're going through these tunnels here, we really do need to keep a close eye on the signalling, because the last thing we want is for the emergency brakes to come in while we're in this section, because just like the last tunnel, when we're coming out of here, we are looking at a 1 in 40 uphill gradient. So next signal is coming along any seconds. There it is. No change. Next signal, and again no change. So when we come out of this tunnel, it takes us to Stratford International, but we do not stop there. It actually sends us on the avoiding line, so we will not be stopping until we reach St Pancras International itself. So the next signal, there it is, still no change. But we have a bit of an uphill gradient now. Certainly nowhere near as steep as when we are actually exiting. So, okay, so far still no change on the TVM system. No change there either. Now the HUD is always showing you your speed in mph, no matter what mode you are using. So of course, as we are approaching St Pancras itself, we've got a change coming up now. This is flashing, so it's telling us that the next signal is likely to have a change. So we'll throttle down a little bit. So yeah, wants us doing 100. Which of course I can't set, so I have to set it to 95. So the brakes cut in. And right, oh, this is going to be tight. I think we just got away with it. So now it's going down again to 80. So again we'll set the speed set to 80. It's dropping our speed, and yet we are below 80 kilometers per hour. So we're on this really difficult 1 in 40. It's not quite as steep now, but it's still steep enough. And it briefly came up with the 3 green lights, but I don't think yeah, they will come back on, I think, once we enter this final tunnel. There we are. So we can set the speed step again to 140. But yeah, what I was saying is once we're out of here and we are approaching St. Pancras, I've got to do a bit of converting as far as, yeah, the speeds being in MPH. Actually, I think because once we come out of this tunnel, we're at the end of the like the TVM system being used, and then I think everything goes back to MPH again. So we might actually be all right. I haven't got to sit here and try and you know, work out or convert kilometres an hour into miles an hour and vice versa. But the important thing as far as yeah, being able to do anything in this train, because there are quite a few people who are complaining that, you know, they can't get this thing to move, is, yeah, either raise the pantograph or lower the third rail shoe, then yeah, press the button here to close the circuit breaker. You've got to do it in that order. If you close the circuit breaker and then put, you know, raise the pantograph or lower the third rail shoe, nothing's going to happen. Okay, so we are approaching the exit point. We have this rather steep 1 in 100. It's not quite as bad as the previous exits. Right, so this is changing again. Let's see what it is changing to. It's probably going to change to a 100. And I can lower this anyway because it's not getting anywhere near these sort of speeds. Right, so what is it? It is 100, so I will set it to, yeah, 95, I'm afraid. But it's going to change again. Right, so we are below 100. I think this is where it will change to 80. We are getting some slight nudges from behind. Okay, that one didn't change at all, so it's still 100. Quite surprised by that. We are also, of course, approaching the end of the TVM system. So this speed now 60, and I think that 60, yeah, is 40 mph in well, yeah, it converts to 40 mph, so it's getting us ready for this speed that we need to be doing here. So we're going up a 1 in 52 gradient. So we are actually doing below 40, so we're fine here. We just had another nudge from behind. I mean, the changing the brake timings and that doesn't completely eliminate it. It was never about completely eliminating that, because you can't completely eliminate that. But it does reduce it, and it reduces it by quite a bit. So here we are. And the TVM system has now switched off. So we can set this now to 25. We have the double yellows here, which is to be expected. In fact, we are still in kilometres an hour, so I've set it to 25 kilometres an hour, even though the speed limit is 25 mph, so yeah, we're absolutely fine as far as the speed. And in fact, because of the possible sort of bumping of the wagons behind us, I'm quite okay with maintaining this speed. In fact, I'll now turn the speed set off and take it in manual. We can see how much slower the brakes are engaging, and that's because of the brake timings for the freight. If it was on passenger timings, the brakes would apply much faster than they are here. We are also combating, we're on a 1 in 65 downhill gradient, so we are, having to try and stop that from pushing us forward. So we want to be coming in slow enough that we're not going to trigger those like magnetic things that put the emergency brakes off if we're coming in too fast. We're certainly not coming in too fast here. Now clearly there's no way this entire train can fit on this platform. This is just, it's just the scenario I'm showing. So yeah, we are actually getting speed up again, so we'll put the brakes on. In fact, might as well stop here. So there we are. That is a quick guide to driving the Class 92. So a lot of features on this loco. It makes driving this train really good, actually. I am a big fan of it. It's probably my favourite freight train to drive in this game. And yeah, if you are, making up your own sort of like, if you're going to make up your own sort of like custom trains with the Class 92, of course now you can put in sleeper carriages, because that is what it's using, and then that will also give you the reason to have the brake timings on the passengers. And then you can find yourself a good long route at night, and there you go, your sleeper train is on its way. So yeah, the Class 92 can pretty much do whatever role you care to mention. It can handle it no problem. So yeah, a short drive guide showing you how to drive the Class 92. Just because it has a lot of features doesn't make it particularly difficult. So the key thing to remember is that when you first start, make sure that you've got the power options set that you need. Unless you're doing this particular line, you're never going to need to change it during the run. So just set it to the power that you need. Raise the pantograph or lower the third rail shoe, then close the circuit breaker, and your train will then start moving. So yeah, just remember to get that bit done in the right order, and then you're laughing. The thing is then no more difficult to drive than any of your regular sort of like electric or diesel locos or multiple units. So there we are, that is that one done. So pretty short. So we shall see you at the next one.